I've heard this thing said so many times, and I wonder the basis why they say so. The NDC has no social intervention programs. It's the funniest thing I heard. Who brought the District Assembly's Common Fund concept? It was the NDC. We put it in the 1992 Constitution and said 5 to 8% of total government revenue should go directly to the districts for their development. So if you go to your district and the District Assembly has built a school, a KVIP, a nursery, a sports recreation, a community center, it is a social intervention of NDC that has produced that. Who introduced the GET Fund? It's Rawlings, NDC.
The apostles of Jandam.
2016, me no na na ebo Jandam ye fe bibi Jandam. Asam ni nya no kura, kama ni nya no kure.
Muntini you, the apostles of Jandam. Some people who have dedicated their lives to create and fabricate lies so that they can throw the lies out as propaganda to distract the cause of nation building.
President Mahama ababe breaking silence over some Jandam update bia and social media also. Na say I may refer this to Jandam update ni say ebi mo painted that perception ni say the NDC any social intervention. Omu ni social intervention. Na President Mahama ababe kasa ababe chichi mu say the NDC was social intervention. In fact, kwan ye fa so ba ye magana ha imiaye bebre afa so nya electricity no eye NDC time ane eye the likes of Rawlings more home no and asanyoma we ni na hyase na President Mahama bebe di no komo sanso na KSM show also abekasa ababe expose os onu no say apostles of Jandam waba abonte ababe expose omo say the omu ye ni na entro hi Ghana gossips me no wabe concept ni mu we new viewer may just subscribe to your channel and like it. Charge your comments in Muna Fidi, share video no, Nama Fufro, to me, and Shebi. So, President Mahama Babeka, Sansa BT President Mahama, no yendi kainti and someone, Echegu, I will decide. And Famra.
The apostles of Jandam.
2016, me no na na ebo Jandam ye fe bibi Jandam. Asam ni nya no kura, kama ni nya no kure.
Muntini you, the apostles of Jandam. Some people who have dedicated their lives to create and fabricate lies so that they can throw the lies out as propaganda to distract the cause of nation building. So to all the apostles of Jandam, and you know who you are, I won't waste my airtime to mention your names. All you apostles of Jandam, you know who you are. But the message for you today is this. You can keep doing all the Jandam you want, but trust me, on this platform and on many other intelligent platforms, we shall suffocate your Jandam with the truth. Somebody said, we shall suffocate your Jandam with the truth, because it's gotten to the point where we don't allow propaganda to disrupt us from nation building. From whichever side, we won't allow it. So, apostles of Jandam, please be warned.
Okay, me no na na ebo Jandam ye fe bibi Jandam. Asam ni nya no kura, kama ni nya no kure. Na mi mos jowulu e kire ho eye Methodist dan na kire ho ni aseria because asam no e kan ni nya no kure.
The apostles of Jandam.
In the for senya mu video no papa ne say the apostles of Jandam. Nesa ade no eni ho kra ombe force aka mana ba be no kre amagana fuetie. And when it comes to this, amanfo bebre na no more space ni mu. The likes of Okatakyire Afrifa. Ya idea mu Afenyo Markins mu ni na akeka ho. Now therefore, these people are really pushing. They really have a special agenda bia omupia. Recently kra CD no appreciated recently a CD again ahwonde kakra with the dollar no. Still now no ya you say Jandam for no and namabonting spread the information I can say no cre and you say baby I was some kind of credit from pim no more diverting no in a situation be a favor more some person monka. Now therefore President Mahama Babekasa at the first social intervention or so what is a month for Kase NDC any social intervention sansem ni na entro na President Mahama aba bedi ne nkomo wo de side yentie ensem odi tudwa na ma mi hu so wadwenche e wo comment ni mu.
I've heard this thing said so many times, and I wonder the basis why they say so. The NDC has no social intervention programs. It's the funniest thing I heard. Who brought the District Assembly's Common Fund concept? It was the NDC. We put it in the 1992 Constitution and said 5 to 8% of total government revenue should go directly to the districts for their development. So if you go to your district and the District Assembly has built a school, a KVIP, a nursery, a sports recreation, a community center, it is a social intervention of NDC that has produced that. Who introduced the GET Fund? It's Rawlings, NDC. We passed the GET Fund law. But for the GET Fund, where would our education be? Most of the educational infrastructure in this whole country is being provided through the GET Fund. And so how can you say we haven't introduced social intervention policies? But in any case, what a social intervention policy is an action or policy that provides social services or social benefits to the people. And so it's not only GET Fund and other things. We have provided more access to water than any other government in the history of this country. When Professor Mills came into government, access to clean drinking water was 58%. By the time we left office, access to clean drinking water was 76%. For Accra alone, we added 40 million more gallons of water. In 8 years, not 1 gallon has been added. And I hear the Ghana Water Company say, oh, Accra is overgrowing a supply of water. It's overgrowing a supply because in 8 years, you have not added a single gallon to it. You must plan and know what your population growth rate is. And you must continue to put in the capacity to bring in more water. And that's why I'm saying that we took water and brought it in from the northern direction of this country. And so Adenta and other places that had never gotten water for almost 15 years saw their taps flowing for the first time. Today, I'm sure your taps flow twice a week or something. If you don't store water, you will run short. And so we need to invest to bring more water supply, not only to Accra, but to all our growing communities around the country. And so if you are a government and you haven't invested in improving water, definitely access to people will be denied. We've extended electricity more than any government in the history of Ghana. Electricity is a public good. When electricity arrives in a community, it changes the lives of the people very rapidly. People can engage in small-scale enterprises. It was Rawlings who introduced the Rural Electrification Program and the National Electrification Program. And so today, when we say that Ghana has more than 80% access to electricity, it's because the NDC introduced those policies for us to be able to do so. So how can any person say that NDC has not introduced any social intervention? Even the NHIS. NDC started a pilot in Damango and Nkranza for the NHIS. Implementation started in President Kufuor's time. But what President Kufuor introduced was a mutual health insurance scheme. And so your card, your NHIS card, allowed you to access health services only in the district in which you were registered. Today's National Health Insurance Scheme was introduced by Professor Mills. He changed it from a mutual district insurance scheme to a national health insurance scheme so that your card could access health care anywhere in Ghana you go. And so I wonder what is giving these people this idea. You know, I can refer to free school uniforms and free sandals. The free school uniform policy was introduced by Professor Mills. I can refer to the free textbooks for basic schools. When Nana Jane, seated here, was minister, she came and met a situation where 3 children had access to 1 textbook. By the time she left office as minister, every child in basic education had access to 4 textbooks of their own. If that is not social intervention, I wonder what else is social intervention. Even let's take progressive free SHS. It's a policy, the free SHS. I launched the free SHS. And so you can't say that we have not had any social intervention. If you talk about the cocoa sector, our policy of free fertilizer and free cocoa inputs and free seedlings changed the lives of the cocoa farmers. And if you remember, when I was leaving office, we did almost 1 million tons of cocoa because of the policy that we had of giving these inputs to the farmers free. If that is not a social intervention, I wonder what else is. That argument must stop. And the point even is, these people have done more harm to social interventions than any other government in history. They capped the NHIS, and apart from that, they starved it of funds. And so most people with an NHIS card today cannot access health services. You go, you get a consultation, there are no drugs, not even analgesics. You go to hospitals and they say they won't accept the NHIS card because the NHIS is not refunding their claims. And it's not refunding their claims because this government has starved the NHIS of money. They've starved the District Assembly's Common Fund of money. The Constitution said 5% to 8%. We were giving District Assemblies 7.5% of national revenue. When this government came, they reduced it to 5%. And the rest they are putting into the consolidated fund to spend at the center. And even the 5% does not come. If you go and ask any district secretary, he will tell you there's no money. They go begging the MPs to let them have access to the money in their district common fund accounts to be able to do even some of the basic things. And so this government is doing more. Get fund, decollateralize Get fund, and spend the money in advance. So Get fund is not able to continue the projects that it is undertaking because the fund has been collateralized. And so this government has done more harm to the existing social interventions